Hello, my name is Raven Shree from Wild Soul Wanderings. I would like to share with you the model of the hero's journey. This is a map that I use in my life adventure, and I'd like to share some of the core aspects with you because it might help you see your life journey through a new and inspiring lens. I've also created a slideshow here that has some of my photography and some of my collaged images from my own quest to make this share a little bit more personal. In 1949, Joseph Campbell, who was an American professor of literature and mythology, wrote a book called Hero with a Thousand Faces. And in this book, he highlights how stories and myths and legends from around the world throughout all time have a very similar model to them, which he called the monolith or the hero's journey. And in this storyline, it involves a character that sets out on a journey to get something that they didn't have. And along the way, there are challenges and obstacles that they need to overcome, and a transformation that happens that allows them to find a treasure, a boon, something that allows them to evolve and come back into community and be of service to community with and through their evolved self. The hero's journey can be found in a lot of our books and stories and movies, but it's also a part of our own individual lives. So let's look at some of the common aspects of the classic hero's journey tale. The first step of the hero's journey is hearing the call. Sounds simple, right? Not all the time. Sometimes we hear the call to adventure and the call to transformation, and we can say yes to it with intention and with purpose. Maybe we answer the call by saying yes to a new job or a new relationship, or we set off on a pilgrimage to a sacred site. Sometimes we'll hear the call, but we will refuse it. We will say no. Maybe it's out of fear or a lack of confidence or feeling that we don't have the capability to say yes. Sometimes the call will come to us several times and we have an opportunity to say yes to it at a later date. Sometimes if we say no to a call for adventure enough, the call will stop coming our way. Other times, the call to adventure is thrust upon us from an outside circumstance or a circumstance in life that's challenging, such as a cancer diagnosis or the ending of a relationship or the ending of a career, or maybe the start of a global pandemic. Either way, once we say yes to the call, that living in status quo changes and we enter into a world of mystery. And as Sherlock Holmes says, the game is afoot. When we're on our journey, we will meet a mentor or mentors that are there to provide lessons and experiences that help the hero learn skills and traits that will help them along the way. Oftentimes, the voice of the mentor will lodge itself in the mind of the hero, and it becomes that voice that guides them along the way. The hero will also meet friends and allies that are there to support and comfort and nurture the hero as they travel along their quest. This is an image that I made of myself. This is me as a little girl wearing my little rainbow Mork and Mindy suspenders. And this represents a lot of the teachers that I've had in my life that are other than human. And so this is a reference that some of our teachers and our friends may be animals or nature beings that are just as wise, if not wiser, than humans. Either way, having both internal and external resources available to us makes us feel like we have the capacity to take a leap of faith further, wider, and deeper into our journey of transformation. Once we take that leap, we are then on the road of trials. And this is where we meet a threshold guardian. This is a force, an experience, a relationship that's there to challenge us, to challenge our fears and our doubts, to challenge our perseverance and our commitment. This is where the hero needs to dig down deep and really find their fortitude and their commitment. This is where the hero faces their demons and slays the dragons. But ultimately, the biggest adversary that the hero will face on their journey is their own shadow. It's not always easy and it's not always fun. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to be a hero to do it. The next part of the journey is the transformation. And this part is intense. It's deep, it's wide. It's the apex of the journey because this is where death happens. Yes, sometimes the hero will physically die, but most often it's an ego death. It's a death to an old way of thinking. It's death to an aspect of the hero's adolescent psyche. And in this death, in this emulsification, there is an elixir, a treasure. There is a seed of soul that can be discovered when you're at your bare bones minimum. In this emulsification process, you find a seed of purpose, of soul, that you can then be rebirthed around. And it's this image that you're meant to live. It's this song that you're meant to sing. It's this purpose that you're meant to live that the hero then starts to craft their new life around. And that's the transformation, creating a life that supports this purpose, this seed, this elixir's truth. That is the transformation. And that can take a couple of years for the hero to craft a new life that supports the new them that came through in the transformation. And just as there might be a refusal to the call at the beginning of the journey, the hero may refuse the call to return home. But coming back into humanity, coming back into community is a large part of the hero's journey. Coming back and living in the generosity of spirit, living the gift of your evolution in community as a gift to the world is a large part of the hero's journey. And in this way, the hero also gets to become a mentor to others that are on their own hero's quest. And who knows, maybe the hero will hear another call for adventure. And so that at a high level is the map of the classic hero's journey. And it's fun to watch one of your favorite movies through this lens and track the main character's journey through these various steps. But more so than watching a movie, it's good to look at your own life and see where you might be at in this model in your own evolution. So let's use this next slide as a recap, and maybe you'll see where you're at in your own hero's journey. We've all been a part of this global pandemic, and that was a call to adventure, a call to transformation for all of us. And maybe you've said yes to that call, and you're dedicated with intention to use this as an opportunity for your evolution. Or maybe you're still refusing that call and you're saying no, and you're clinging to your old way of being, clinging to your old ideas of life. But if you have said yes to the evolution and the transformation opportunities available to whatever call of adventure is calling you forward, maybe you've already crossed that threshold and you're working with a mentor. Who are the mentors in your life? What lessons are you learning from these relationships? Who are your friends and your allies and your support system? Because these are needed for you to take the leap of faith deeper and wider into your journey. And maybe you've already taken that leap and you are on the road of trials and you are slaying dragons. And maybe you are facing your own shadows, whether that be addictions or lack of confidence. Shadow comes up in many ways, but face the shadows you must for you to die to your old ways. Maybe you've already done a lot of slaying of your dragons and facing your demons, and you have died. Maybe you have moved through a big level of ego death, and you have found an elixir. You have found a seed of soul that inspires your next evolution of living. What is this elixir? What is that word or mantra or image that informs and infuses your living on this planet? And if you have captured that, how are you constructing a life that supports this new evolved aspect of you? Maybe you've already cultivated these new resources in your life and you've crafted a life that can support the new you. And it's time for you to return home to community, return home to humanity, and live in the generosity of your spirit and the gift of your soul service to the world. And so I encourage you to look at your life through this lens, and this model can help inspire you through the hard and challenging times. It can also inspire you to be more alive in the larger matrix and the larger ecosystem of the world that we are part of. And so that concludes my overview of the hero's journey. May this inspire you as you more fully live the adventure of your life. Thank you.